Members, officers, and any members of the public that are watching, and welcome to the February Parish Council meeting. Members, can we have a moment's silence to compose ourselves for tonight's meeting, please? Okay, that will do. Right, let's call the roll, please. I'll call your name out and then please say that you're attending. Councillor Mark Clark.
Here, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Rebecca Clark has given her apologies. Councillor Sean Cullen.
Present, Chairman.
Councillor Sandra Delamare.
Present, Chairman.
Councillor Philip Dowd.
Present, Chairman.
Councillor Alan Fairhead.
Present, Chairman.
Councillor Simon Lodge.
Present, Chairman.
Councillor Stephanie Osborne. She's not here. She should be. Okay. She's coming late, possibly. Councillor Melody Roberts.
Present, Chairman.
And Councillor Alex Wade.
Present, Chairman.
And I'm here, Malcolm Wade. Right,
Malcolm, you forgot me.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Matt.
And I am present.
Yeah, good. You're quite right. It's because you haven't got your camera on, Matt. Actually,
apologies.
That's what threw me. Right. Okay. Well, that's that done. Excellent. Apologies. We have Rebecca Clark, and I'll give apology for Stephanie Osborne because she's not here at the moment. Okay. Declarations of interest. To note any declarations of interest made by members in connection with agenda item, members to specify the nature of the interest. Has anybody got one? Alex, you've got an RTS.
Thank you, Chairman. There are in the planning committee, I and by view of the connection, the rest of the planning committee declared an interest in application 21-10001. This was because it was located opposite the property of one of our parish council colleagues, and therefore we as a committee, and I on its behalf as chair, did not comment on that application. And there'll be some other declarations of interest when we get to planning that individual councillors made, but that one was done as a whole on the planning committee. Okay,
any other declarations of interest? Councillor Lodge.
Yeah, I've got a declaration of 21/10003 Mountfield, which is where I live, so I didn't comment on that.
Okay, Councillor Osborne, welcome to the evening's meeting. You're here, good. Okay, I do have any written requests for dispensation or any other dispensations required? No. Okay, we move to item 3, which is community safety. To receive the report from the police. Helen, the floor is yours and welcome.
Thank you very much, and evening everyone. So we'll start discussing the main issue across the whole of the New Forest, which is our Operation Bump, which is the non-dwelling burglaries, where we had seen an increase, which started off on the west of the forest and unfortunately came over to your area as well. However, since I last spoke to you, we have had a decrease in the burglaries. And I think that's thanks to particularly last weekend where we had a bit of a crime spike in Ashurst, albeit not your area, but the criminals do not know boundaries. And someone was arrested for about 8 burglaries in the Ashurst area and will in time be charged for some of those burglaries. And since then, there has been a reduction in the number of reported burglaries. And I say burglaries, I'm talking about outbuildings, sheds, garages. So that is really good news. We haven't seen a decrease for some time now. So, and no doubt also this person who was caught came from Southampton. So it just shows that sometimes they think the New Forest is easy pickings. However, we won't rest on our laurels. We have got extra funding to have proactive police who have AMPR capability to be out on patrol, and mainly from the hours of sort of 10 o'clock at night up to about 4 o'clock in the morning. So that would be specifically across the weekends for the next 3 or 4 weekends. And as we go along, we'll see how successful that is, and we can continue bidding for more money. So that's very good. The first 2 weeks in February, was our County Lines Intensification Week, where this involved us doing enforcement and engagement. We did a couple of warrants in your area, Hythe and Dibden, and were successful in seizing some drugs, and we've got further lines of inquiries with the offenders. And we've also been doing some engagement, and that's really visiting our vulnerable individuals who, because of their vulnerability, will mix with drug dealers, drug offenders. So we offer them support and diversion where we can. So that lasted for 2 weeks, and we did that across the whole of the forest. So as well as the warrants, we also do what we call a ring of steel. It's basically we have across the strands, traffic, response, neighbourhoods, stop checking people and vehicles in your area just to see what they're doing and why they're in area if they're not from it. And we also work with BTP on the rail line, so that's more Brockenhurst and Totton. So again, those operations were quite successful. Antisocial behaviour across your area has decreased, and no doubt that is due to us having extra patrols for COVID. So not only are we enforcing tickets for people who are breaching the regulations, we can also look at them for antisocial behaviour issues as well. So that's pretty good. So where are we in regards to COVID? No doubt everyone saw what Boris Johnson had to say on Monday. So we're looking at our policing response to that. I'm working closely with New Forest District Council, Forestry England, and also the national parks to see how we can all do sort of joint patrols, all work together. Each sort of department have their own issues. So Forestry England got concerns about people coming into the forest, overloading the car parks, parking on verges, etc. So we'll have some joint visits with our PCSOs and the rangers. I mean, we can't, and nor can they actually do enforcement. People park on verges, but at least we can educate some people and show them that we're out there. New Forest District Council still got their COVID ambassadors till I think for the next couple of weeks or so. So that might be extended. I've got some more funding, so I will be putting out extra officers till at least the middle of April. So that takes us in past the school holidays, because no doubt, as you're aware, that Easter time will be busy. And as every part of lockdown gets released, it will get busier and busier in a way. So our first challenge is obviously the schools opening. So we'll be very visible at school opening and ending time, and we'll be liaising with the head teachers to see what issues they can foresee, and we will be helping there. Again, we will be doing our extra patrols, and we will be ticketing those who are blatantly breaching the regulations, which we have done, and we are still finding some obscure people travelling down from London to camp in the New Forest and do sort of bizarre things. Visiting their second homes in the forest, or 4 people in a car came over from the Isle of Wight to buy a car. It's just really obscure, some of these people we're stopping and reasons why they're in the forest. So they leave the area with the flea in their ear and a £200 fine. So generally they won't be back until they can legally come back. Just so you're aware, I'll be continuing to be the temporary chief inspector for the next 2 or 3 months, and we'll see what happens there. But I have actually got a backfill now. So I've got a new inspector by the name of Brian Goodall, who will cover what I used to cover, just the east of the forest. And we've also got a new student by the name of Nathan. So he's part of the Hardley team. We are going to be losing, or we've already lost one PCSO, and we're losing another one in May. But the good news is the New Forest are getting 8 new PCSOs throughout the course of the year, and the first 2 who start in June will be coming to the Hardley team, as you need them more than anyone else at that time. So that's from Force Uplift programme, and so I'm really pleased about that. And I'm also hearing that the AXOs are working well. You probably might know more than I do about that, but they seem to be carrying out their patrols and getting stuck in. And my Sergeant Amanda Allen is retiring end of next month, but she's being replaced straight away by a person by the name of Stacey Kirby. So again, that's good news. And there's a bit of an overlap as well, which rarely happens in the police. So it's good that she'll get a good handover from the current sergeant who can go through all the different issues that we face. So, and Stacey comes with a wealth of experience and knowledge. So no doubt she will be a real asset. So those are the headline news. I think the next few weeks as we come out of lockdown, or few months, will be very challenging indeed. So in some ways, it's easier to enforce when everyone's in lockdown and everyone knows sort of the rules. When we come out of them, and this is what we found last time, the rules can sometimes be a bit confusing. And so it actually makes life a bit harder. But like I said, at least we've got more funding that will take us till the middle end of April. And we can we'll have extra staff on duty to give advice and do the necessary breaches of regulations if necessary. So all in all, it hasn't been a bad month in relation to sort of crime and antisocial behaviour in your area. So that's the headline news. So if anyone's got any questions, then please go ahead.
I think Mark's got a question. Did you
But
want to ask yes as well, Alex?
It was just, thank you, Helen, for that. That's great. And you obviously mentioned the ACSOs. I just wonder whether you'd heard of any sort of concrete examples of where they're working together and how they can help you over the next couple of months.
With them, it's more about their sort of visibility and being in areas of hotspots. But as we go forward, and we know, especially with areas that people are potentially breaching or, you know, doing house parties, they're linking in with the PCSOs. So, you know, they can work together, and also they're submitting intelligence. So, you know, all in all, it is pretty good.
Thank you. Alex, did you have a question? Okay, well, funny enough, item B on this is the ACSO's report, which I'm sure you've all seen. Have you seen? Has Helen seen a copy of this? Do we know, Sue?
No, I haven't seen it actually.
I'll forward it to you tomorrow, Helen.
We'll
Okay,
send them to
thanks
you from now on because I think it's good to have this two-way communication. Well, if there's any other questions for Helen before she goes, well, can I thank you very much for that report? A lot of positive stuff, and I know, you know, it's been difficult for everybody during this period, and I think the police have been doing a sterling job. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Well, thank you all for your support as well. You know, we really appreciate it. So from myself and the team, thank you also.
Good.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, members, item 4 is the minutes to consider and confirm the minutes of the meetings of the council held on the 28th of January. Okay, I will do these a page at a time. If you'd like, I'm just going to get them out of the file then. Okay, right, members, page 7, page 8, shout if you want to bring something up, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, this is a long meeting, page 15. Are you all happy that is a true record? And I will sign them appropriately.
Yes, Chairman.
So proposed, Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, we now move on to item 5, which is the chairman's announcements. Okay. I'm going to start with a couple of positive things. I'm going to start with one positive thing. I got my newsletter today, and I've heard it from other members of the public have got it. They're really impressed and very pleased. So well done, the parish council team, for the newsletter. Starting on a less positive note, we received, as you're aware, at the last parish council meeting, I wrote to the Grant chaps, Minister of Transport, The leaders of the county council, the district council, and the parish council, and our two local MPs, Julian Lewis and Alan Whitehead in Southampton. Well, Julian Lewis wrote to the grant chaps, and the permanent Under Secretary of State, Robert Courts MP, responded, and he also responded with a letter to me because I got it in the post. So, and it's exactly the same letter, and simplistically, they're not going to give any money to the ferry, which is sad. But we mustn't give up, and this may come up later in the evening, so I won't dwell on it any further. I just want to report that back to you, that we need to do all we can to support the ferry. And finally, and this is very personal thing to me and Alex, it's probably appropriate that I announce in the Parish Council meeting the sad loss of Stan, my dad, and Alex is his grandfather. He sat on this council for 32 years. He sat on the district council for 36 years. He helped bring in the CAB, Citizen Advice Bureau. He helped put together Hythe Community Centre, including the first buildings called Stan's Shed, which he got through in Forley. He helped with Age Concern, worked in the Horror Centre. I did a plethora of things and helped a lot of people. And he became a victim to the awful pandemic. But he had been poorly for a long time prior to that, but he still was a victim of the pandemic. And that's very sad. But a lot of people, I can tell you now, have been really kind and really very, very vocal in their tribute to Stan. And I think it'd be rather nice, instead of a moment's silence, if you members are okay with this, we have a few moments clap to celebrate his life and all the good things he did on behalf of the people of Hythe and Dibden. I don't know, would you be okay with that, members? And we can all do it for really, not for 4 moments from now. Thank you very much. I know he would appreciate that. Okay, we now go. Oh, it's me again, isn't it? Well, item 6, reports of county and district members.
Chairman, can I just come in?
Sorry, Alan, you had an RTS and so did Alex. My apologies.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, with the newsletters, I remember we spoke about this, that we and our volunteers aren't delivering it. So far, I've not seen it. So can I just ask who's delivering it, when they're being delivered, what's the time scale on it?
I think, unless anyone knows better, it's been delivered by the Royal Mail and the time scale is now. I got mine today. Other people have had theirs already. Some people haven't had theirs, but I'm sure we're going to get it. I would imagine everybody will have it by the end of next week. Is that about right, officers? Mark, anybody?
Yes, indeed, Mr. Chairman. If I could chip in, they should be delivered. Obviously, if members could just keep an eye on their letterbox. If you don't get it, and Alan, I'm looking at you. If you don't get it, let me know, and we'll do it. And obviously, members, we want to make this a quarterly edition. So obviously, any pickups, any proofing, any issues, please let us know at the communications panel, and we'll try and make the next edition even better.
Thank you, Chairman and fellow officers. And I see Steph's got her hand up.
Just to say, Alan, my edition came inside a lot of leaflets like pizzas and blind advertisements. So you might need to have looked for it. I was quite surprised to find it in the, sort of hidden in the middle of it.
Alex, you had RTS.
Thank you. It was just really to follow on from your kind words with regards to Councillor Stan Wade, obviously my granddad, and probably inspiration alongside yourself for me getting involved in the parish and district council. I just want to say thank you to all the officers, former councillors, current councillors and members of the public and everyone who has got in touch with us. He lived a very good life and he contributed a lot to this community and was just really quite a fascinating and a really amazing man. But thank you ever so much to everyone for your kind words. It is beyond appreciated. And I would like to just say that moving forward, after the very kind gesture to lower the flag, that we repeat this in the sad event that any former or current parish councillors pass away. I think this is a nice honour to anyone who has volunteered to serve this parish council. As we know, you do it without charge, and you do it because you care about where you live, like Grandad did, and like everyone else who's put themselves forward for the parish and has been a councillor since the parish began. So I think this is something that we should repeat. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about it for a while, but should this situation arise and we're made aware, I do think we should echo this sentiment for anyone who served on the parish council.
That's a very good point, Alex. And yeah, and I echo Alex's thanks to everybody. Okay, Mark, did you want to say something again, or you're done? Okay, right. It's now reports from the county and district members. Now, if you remember, members, that the officers and myself and Philip had a discussion how we can make these meetings more efficient, more punchy, more quicker and effective. So I requested you all by mail that you keep your reports 3 minutes. And the only way to do that is by leading from the front. So I'm going to start with my county one, which is suitably short. Okay, this month I attended the Children and Families Advisory Panel, which dealt with a number of issues for noting. And I was due to attend a regulatory committee and speak on the Forest Lodge Farm application for extra equipment, but for personal reasons I was able to attend. But I passed on my speech and information to a Lib colleague who spoke on my behalf. My main concern was the extra noise nuisance for local residents of Netley View, and I went over the noise data closely to discover there have been breaches in the levels, and there was no monitoring on the west side opposite Netley View. I was pleased to find out that an updated condition 31, which strengthens the monitoring and mitigation for the extra equipment, was passed, and the applicants have agreed to a monitoring site in the west. They've suggested the monitoring screen be seen in public. The protection for local residents was passed by the committee, and the extra equipment can only be used if it follows strict controls of any potential noise. And finally, members, revenue budget and precept 21 to 22. This is being decided tomorrow in the county council meeting. It's likely that the county council's bandy council tax for the year, beginning the 1st of April 21, will be £1,350.45, an increase of 4.99%, of which 3% is specifically for adult social care. I will report more on this meeting next month, and also we have put in a motion to provide extra support for carers. I will speak on this next month also. Thank you very much. Okay. Right, I'm going to go along my screen. Councillor Dowd.
I have 4 sentences. 29th of January Waste Management Working Group meeting. This gave details of the public consultation exercise, the important subject of reducing waste. That's the matter that the chairman, Councillor Wade, and I maintain was not prominent enough, is starting to be addressed. The next meeting is today, 24th of February, as is the Greener Housing meeting, so I'll report on these next time. Thank you.
Councillor Mark Clark.
I can try and get it to one sentence, Mr. Chairman. I simply have a question in for tomorrow's full district council on about my favourite building site at Forest Lodge Farm, and I'll report back on that next month.
Okay. Councillor Alex Wade.
I have a page. Health and Leisure Centre update. I attended a special community leisure overview and scrutiny panel meeting on February the 9th. It was discussed the change to the management from the council to Freedom Leisure, a private non-for-profit company. The panel voted 8-2 in favour of the proposal that on July the 1st, Freedom will take over operating and maintaining the 5 leisure centres, including our very own Applewell. The 2 against were the Liberal Democrat members, Councillor Rackham and myself. There was not much debate beyond scrutiny from opposition councillors, although there were questions from the whole panel, and sadly it did feel the decision was never in doubt. The contract is for 11 years, including a year to allow for responding post-COVID, and the feedback and data provided to councillors left me with enough concerns to suggest that delaying the process by a year and allow for a better understanding and analysis of the leisure industry and allow for our centres to try and return to a pre-COVID service would be suitable. Furthermore, I highlighted that this remains a private organisation with the ability to review service offers, raise prices, staffing reviews, and indeed make changes to loyal long-term bookings at our centres. And the performance review structure put in place, including a councillor working group, did not reassure me. With the enthusiasm of this change from the Cabinet member, the ruling group councillors, any change that Freedom has to advise the New Forest District Council of that will be significant and impact the members and service users, in my view, may not be challenged or scrutinised as it should be. I hope it's a success, but I have concerns that the ambitious numbers provided in future membership may not reflect the reality, and that the focus on supporting all our community's mental and physical well-being needs to be the immediate priority. The public scrutiny at this late stage has been challenged by lockdown, but I do feel that once we lose the strategic control of the day-to-day service, there won't be an ability or willingness to review the service beyond resident or respond to the residents' feedback. I must add, I wish it every success, and we want all the centres to be a success, and I hope to be on the proposed scrutiny group. The final decision goes to council tomorrow, but with the panel and cabinet supporting the proposal, this is merely a formality. Elsewhere, I would like to pass on my thanks and appreciation for the kind messages, again, about Stan, who was the New Forest District Councillor for 36 years.
Thank you. Councillor Sandra Delamare.
I've got nothing to report, Chairman.
Okay. Councillor Stephanie Osborne. You're muted, Stephanie.
Oh, okay, right. I've attended several things. Dibden allotments trustee meetings, the Forest Lodge Hythe Quarry liaison panel, the Hythe Hospital building panel. I've distributed all my councillor community fund for this year. New Forest National Park Authority did a very good talk on cargo bikes, which is something we need to look at to replace cars. And I attended a conversation connection with the New Forest Big Bee launch, which was also quite worrying in the fact that we all need to be aware bees need to be encouraged and protected. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll quickly zap into my NFDC report. Equally frugal. I attended the planning committee on the 10th of February. None of the items affected this parish. Today I attended the greener housing committee with Philip in the morning, where we discussed a project to improve energy use in 50 of the most energy inefficient NFDC properties. We also had a presentation, a more efficient and greener maintenance and repair schedule system for New Forest District Council properties, including a greener travel plan for repair teams. That is one of the best presentations I think I've ever seen. They have really got their game together on that, and that was a very positive. We also looked at the greener housing strategy. I also attended the waste meeting, but I'll let Philip report on that next month in any detail. Tomorrow, I, along with other district members, will be attending the NFDC council meeting to discuss setting the council tax, the recreation centre management by private sector, and I'll put forward a motion asking for the suspension of car parking charges for 6 months following the end of the lockdown to help local business and local people. I'll be reporting back on these items next month. And that is it. I trust that was very good, members. That was well within the 3 minutes, even me. So that was well done. Now we go to item 7, a report of members serving in outside bodies. Again, keep the 3 minutes. Do we have any?
I'll just report that the youth forum meeting that was due to take place this month has been postponed because of the workload of various members. Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else? Okay, that's fine.
Chairman, sorry.
Sorry,
I did attend the virtual meeting of the Friends of Forest Front. There'll probably be an announcement about things to do with that later, but I don't think I ought to preempt that.
Okay. Right. Okay. Any more? Okay. Now we move swiftly on to item 8, the public forum. Have we had any questions from the public, Sue?
No, I haven't seen any.
Okay, so we'll assume that they're quite happy at the moment. We now go to item 9, which is questions. Brief questions from councillors. I've just noticed that on the agenda. Yeah. Anyway, members, have you got any questions for me, or for any councillor? Sorry.
Yes, Malcolm, I do, for you, if I may.
Okay, you'll do it first.
Yeah, just a quick question. Obviously we've received the ACSOs are in play, and we've all received. If we haven't, then we should have all received our magnets and our little sort of cards in the post. It's just a question from a local resident of why we've spent money on double the amount of business cards when the information could have been put onto one business card, because the only different information that it holds is the fact that it's just a different name. It's the same email, the same telephone number and the same address. So it was just a wonder from a resident why we produced 2 business cards instead of 1.
I can answer that because I've worked in businesses with business cards, and I've worked in a company of thousands of people, and they have probably 100 people with a business card with the same phone number, the same address, but a different name. It's because it's a unique form of identification that you give to a member of the public or someone you're working with your name on it. It's quite normal, Matt.
That's fine. I just wanted to be able to give like a proper answer.
No,
I didn't want to
well,
sort of
spotted.
shove them away. Thank you.
That's perfectly fine. So that I could quite understand why they've done that. Right, next we have Alex.
Are you happy for me to raise is the chairman aware question, Chair?
So, yeah, of course you can.
Is the chairman aware that following a update from Hythe Ferry highlighting the very grave situation that they are in financially and the risk of the ferry not being able to operate once we are all out of lockdown, that local residents have put together a crowdfunder to try and raise funds to try and support the ferry. Is the chairman aware of this? Is he aware? Has he been in contact, or the parish council done anything to get in contact and support Lee Raymond from Blue Funnel Ferries at this stage? And is there a possibility that the parish council, obviously not necessarily from a financial perspective, because there's only so much we can do, that can facilitate and work together with interested parties and come together and try and do our level best to fight for our ferry? Thank you.
Well, I'm aware of all of that, Alex. Thank you. But Sue, Sean, is there anything we can do as a parish council to help I know it's a private company, so we always limited. Anything we can do to help or facilitate any actions to help the ferry and its survival, because it is vitally important to Hythe and Dibden that ferry survives.
Can we not can we not help publicise the crowdfunding exercise somehow?
Yeah, we could do that. I certainly think we could put it on our website. I'll put it on my Facebook page. I know probably many members have already. We can put it on the website. But is there anything else do you think we can do? Sean, you got any ideas?
Racking my brains here, Malcolm. To be honest, I think a lot of things were tried last time. When they were trying to raise the Hythe Heritage Association, was any of those ideas then successful that we could maybe regurgitate or use again? Well,
I need someone to remind me what the ideas we use then. But I've got a suggestion. That letter that we wrote to all the local councils, that was asking them to lobby the government, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
From memory, yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. What we didn't ask is asking them to put their hand in the pocket, did we? Is it worth us, this council, writing a letter to the 3 councils again, asking them to help fund the survival of the ferry, but also to look at ways how they may help facilitate other funding for the ferry? Because clearly the LEP, there's a possibility they might get something from the LEP, but that's not a given. You know, and we need to be in front of this. What do you think, Sue? Could we do that?
And I think I remember from reading the letter, a lot of the problems seem to be mechanically related to the boats and along with refurbishment. Is there any way we can approach boatyards or something like that, or places where they can actually speak to them regarding that?
Well, there's 2 aspects to the problems. One of them, you're absolutely right, was the the refurbishment and servicing, and more perhaps even like the MOT of the ferries, which was quite a considerable cost. But also there was the revenue, or because there is quite a number of overheads that the ferry company has that they have no revenue to deal with it. So it was a mixture of the two, and it was quite a significant sum that they need to. I think that's quite a good idea. We could perhaps there are boat yards around the area that might be willing to help. We would need to contact Blue Funnel Ferries, ask them about that, and think of their idea, because they will provide the expertise to know what we've got to ask the boat yards to do, because we need, that's a good idea. So we can write to the councils, we can liaise with Blue Funnel to see if we can find someone to help them cost effectively MOT the boat or service the boat, whatever it's called, and look at any other ways we can gather funding, because it really is pivotal to be able to go across from Hythe to Southampton on a ferry and back again. Thousands of tourists use it every year, and hundreds of people use it to go to work, and we want to support that. And being that both the county and the district, their strategic transport strategy is multi-module, which means not just car usage, the ferry fits into that like a glove. So, you know, it should be in their interest to help us support it as well. So perhaps we can drop a line to those three on that point. Mark, I've got you down as an RTS.
Well,
no, I've got Alan actually, but are you coming back on this issue, Mark?
Yeah.
I'll let Mark jump in and then go to Alan, yeah?
Sorry, all it was, Mr. Chairman, is as you know, as you were involved in some of the meetings as well along the waterside development scheme, which was all of the local employers all the way along, all the major ones, including Aldred Drummond, of course, with the development of Forley, was involving, as you rightly say, Mr. Chairman, about the multi-modular process of transport, which included possibly the railway as well. Is there not a scope then for this parish council to write to those employers as well, just highlighting the issue and perhaps suggesting that they might also like to pitch in?
That's a very good idea. Is that okay, Sue? Yeah, because you're going to do a lot of letter writing. I can see that. That different. We need to reach out and engage with any organisations we can to help with this. Alan and then Stephanie.
Yeah, Chairman, please correct me if I'm wrong, but when going back to what Matt was saying, when the business cards came out, did you or someone say that the two cards with the two mics details on were for our councillors' use only, because on the other card it says this number will divert to the ACSO on duty?
No, what I said was that they each have a mobile which is for internal use only. The cards, and correct me if I'm wrong, officers, reflects the public line to the ACSOs, doesn't it? So that's what's on the card.
Well, the way I'm pleased to say, correct me, but I read it that the council site with the 0866 number, if you phone that, you will be diverted to the ACSO on duty. Where if you phone up, for example, say Michael Armstrong on his mobile, he might be off duty.
Yeah, if what members, the number we publish, the landline, is either picked up in the office when the officers are in the office, or if not, it's diverted to the on-duty officer. You're quite right. The mobile numbers, yeah, they're not. I think they're giving them to partners and and regular people that they deal with on a regular basis. But yeah, the published number is the landline number, and it's diverted.
It's not for us to give that out to the general public.
No.
I think we'd prefer not to. We'd like one central number. So
I just hope that perhaps Matt didn't get the note or the letter, but he understands more as to why there are three cards.
Yeah, that cards really shouldn't be given out to the general public. That the public, we would like them to use the landline number, so they're pretty sure of getting hold of an officer if they're on duty.
Thank you.
If they're dealing with Chief Inspector Helen Andrews, they want to give them a direct line, not put her to go through, and that's what they're for.
Yeah, and partners like the Handy Trust and
Yeah.
PCSOs and you know, people that we deal with regularly about issues.
That's why you've seen it. Okay.
Thank you.
Stephanie Osborne, then Alex.
Vice Chairman, I just wanted to say I did receive a letter today from a very concerned member of the public, just saying, you know, that they hope that I was going to speak tonight and, you know, say what we've just said about asking for support from all the different venues and even the National Park Authority. But we're just saying that the A326 and the capacity it's going to be expected to carry once lockdown is, you know, over, that the ferry is even more important. And, you know, the pier is there being restored, and we just need to really support that ferry as much as we can to give us an alternative.
Absolutely right. Alex.
Firstly, thank you very much for the conversation on the point that I brought to the council this evening. I certainly don't want to add any more to the officers' workload. So really, this is just a maybe councillors, particularly district councillors, can do a combined message and email to NFDC officers who they know look at grants, because the expertise might be there in the county council, and ask them for guidance of anywhere we can look at because of the unique nature. This is although it's effectively a business, it's quite a unique business that offers a special kind of transport, and there's lots of funding that it doesn't qualify for somewhat unfairly. So maybe councillors can contact NFDC officers and maybe offline we can contact Lee Raymond and say, would you be happy for us to write to local businesses and say, maybe Tesco's and Waitrose, where they do their little funds for local causes, would you be happy for us to write and ask on that behalf? Or even as individual councillors writing to businesses and organisations that strongly benefit from the ferry, like Southampton Football Club, because when the fans are up and running, Southampton Council and Southampton Football Club, it really helps their contribution to the environment for fans to take the ferry rather than to travel by car. So maybe councillors can discuss this, maybe speak with the economic development officer, parish development officer, sorry, offline, and just come up with some options and maybe liaise with the residents who've campaigned so well so far.
Southampton Football Club's a really good idea, because yeah, that is a very good idea.
I have to. I'll declare an interest as a fan.
Yeah. Okay. Right. What you got enough for that to be going on with, Sue? Brilliant. Thank you very much, members. I'm sure this is something we will revisit in future meetings. Right. We're now at item 10 to receive the delegated in the planning committee. Over to you, Alex. Page 17 in your pack, members.
Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for responding again efficiently twice this month, because we had to respond to the latest update with regards to St Jude's, which again, it went to appeal and lost, but it's come back again. And it was proposed to this council that the officers were likely to support it and what would be the parish's contribution. I felt, and I spoke to the councillors, and we agreed to support our original iteration, which was that we disagree with this application for a variety of reasons, due to overdevelopment, out of keeping, impact on the highways and road safety, and frankly the impact on quite a significant and consistent group of houses in what was a very important site in the village. We've gone back and said that we object, which is against obviously the officers' advice at NFDC, but I just wanted to update the council on that. I'm going to go from pages 17 to 20. If you have any challenges, please let me know. As always, Councillor Malcolm Wade, as a member of NFDC Planning Authority, did not comment. Councillor Sean Cullen declared an interest in application 20-11463 due to a relative living in the site, which is very good. And Councillor Lodge also declared an interest on 21-1003 due to living in the same road. Although actually, overtly cautious there, I don't think you can see the property from your home, Councillor Lodge. And lastly, one application was directly opposite one of our colleagues, Councillor Delamare's house, so it was inappropriate for us to comment. So, page 17, page 18, page 19, and lastly, page 20, which is where On behalf of you all, I commented on the draft mitigation recreational impact on the New Forest. Not an issue that impacts within the parish, more our residents when we go out and explore the forest. Are you happy that's a true reflection of all our comments put together?
Happy with that, yes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you ever so much.
Okay, we now move to item 11, Communication Workings Group, to see the notes of the Communications Working Group of the meeting held on the 10th of Feb and to agree recommendations. And it's item page 21 to 22.
Indeed, Mr. Chairman, thank you. If I could just offer those to this meeting for approval and seconding. Can I just say that there is a motion, a proposal, if you like, at item 14 with regard to live streaming of this council, not perhaps on the same level as Hythe Parish Council, but nevertheless, let's keep in order. But I'd just like to find out if I'd like to propose these meetings, but I also just want to point out to individuals around the table, the virtual table, of one suggestion within here to make sure that all members' biographies are up to date on the website, which was proposed by Alex Wade. So if I could just propose these minutes in total, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, before we accept that, I've RTS from Alex Wade on the Comms Committee.
Just for clarification, will be giving the £800 quoted for the enamel pins for nominees of the Community Spirit Award. At least £100 of that will be discounted because that's coming out of my NFDC councillor grant, and I believe we've asked other councillors, they may be able to contribute. So that amount may be lower due to some councillor grant funding.
Do we have to amend that to pins at a cost of up to approximately £800? Does everybody agree that amendment? Hello.
Yes, Chairman, but I'm still waiting to, because I have up to £400 to contribute to that, and I haven't heard whether or not all or some of that is needed.
Okay. That's not for discussion now. So if we amend that to up to £800, then you can liaise with officers at the final amount. Do we need to vote on this one, Sue? Okay, right, let me get my list. Okay, we have a recommendation. Councillor Mark Clark, for or against?
For, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Rebecca Clark's not here. Councillor Sean Cullen?
For, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Sandra Delamare?
For, Chairman.
Councillor Philip Dowd?
For, Chairman.
Councillor Alan Fairhead?
For, Chairman.
Councillor Matthew Kitcher?
Chairman, I apologies, I cut out, so I didn't hear it, so I'll have to abstain, I'm afraid.
Okay. Councillor Simon Lodge?
For, Chairman.
Councillor Stephanie Osborne?
For, Chairman.
Councillor Melody Roberts?
For, Chairman.
Councillor Alex Wade?
For, Chairman.
And I'm for as well. So that is for the amendment with the word up to a cost of that in. Okay, we agreed. Okay, thank you for that. Are you all happy with that, members? We'll move on. Move on to item 12, which is grants. To receive the grant application. Who's going to take us through this bit? Or do you want me to just read it out? You read it out, okay.
Could I suggest that Sean takes us through this one?
Yeah,
Chairman.
okay, I've also got an RTS from Grant from Alex, but you're sure to take us through it, Sean. Then Alex can pop in, and then we can vote on it.
You're muted, Sean.
Sorry, you're muted. Yeah.
I apologise. Yeah, just so we received a grant application. The grant working party considered it. The agreed sum is the one that's stated here. I erred on the side of caution when I recommended that figure, simply because I was expecting a rash of grant applications, bearing in mind the year we've had. That hasn't materialised. We've had one subsequent application since then. So if members, Philip was, one of the members was at a different view to the other two members and wished to see a bigger grant applied on this grant. So really the recommendation was there because I thought we would have less money, but we've got a bit more money. So Philip, if you'd like to change that recommendation or suggest an amendment to that recommendation, there is scope to do so.
Right, can I just take-
I would certainly be happy to recommend, given that the money won't be carried forward to the next financial year. So unless there's a strong objection, I would recommend that we increase the amount. And I believe that even with the other grant that we're expecting to see, we could manage the whole amount.
Can I have a seconder for that?
I'll second that, Chairman.
Okay, right, now I'm going to go to Alex and then Mark, because you both, before we have any vote on this, because you've got RTSs.
Just merely to add that I welcome that we are still supporting the Waterside Arts Festival, and I support that particular area within the grants there. It's not, it's in the list, as I say, but not part of the main discussion point. And at future meeting, I would like us to discuss sort of what ways we can support this brilliant festival a lot more. And I'm glad the council is still showing support in some capacity for the Waterside Arts Festival, which means a lot to a lot of people. I do welcome actually the grant that we're giving today, because it's a very, very important organisation that frankly, if this facility is used just once, it's more than justified our contribution. Am I right in thinking, based on what Sean you've advised, Sean Spencer, that should we go to the amount proposed by Councillor Dowd, that we've reached our grant budget for this year, and that there's no external funds there? Sorry, no remaining funds in the budget.
I think Philip has suggested that we fully pay for the defibrillator, which is a cost of 1,663. We have this, I think last week, back end of last week, received another grant application from another group. That's out now for consultation with the working group. But yes, you can pay this, and you can make a grant to the second organisation that's applied for one. But
and then that reaches our total.
I would think so at this point.
Thank you.
Can I just, before I bring Mark in, can I just ask the question? What's the second group that's applied for defibrillator?
It's the Disability Information Service.
And whereabouts is that located?
That they do work from Hythe. They work all over the forest, but they do spend in normal times, they do spend a day a week in Hythe, and they do support a number of Hythe residents. So that's out for consideration with the working group and come back to you in March.
Is that a mobile defibrillator?
Yeah, the defibrillator, yes, that can be taken into a boat, so they can actually provide the service.
But what about the other organisation? Is that a mobile one as well, or going to be fixed on a building?
Oh no, this is the Disability Information Service. They send out remote workers to advise local people on their right to benefits and other support that disabled people could achieve. So it's a different scenario, but they're requesting funding as well, Malcolm.
Can I make? I think Philip's. I'm quite happy with Philip's proposition. That suggestion, though, would it not be sort of politique to sort of split the money in two and give half to each? And that's just it's a suggestion, because it's both of them want defibrillators, both of them support local people. I'm just wondering whether, rather than a first come first served approach, sorry,
Chairman, just to clarify, the second application from the Disability Information Service is not for a defibrillator. It's to support their outreach service across the district.
I'm with you. And will we have any money left to be able to service that if we spend all of it on the defibrillator?
Yeah, if this was at the moment in our budget, we've got £2,214 available for these type of grants. We've had a proposal to spend 1,663 on the defibrillator for the Venture Scouts, so that would leave the remainder.
Okay, that's fine. So this money, Sue, you had your hand up. Sue, she's picture's frozen. You had your hand up.
Yep. Sorry, my rural internet here. I was just. I don't think you hear me. Yeah, Sean jumped in and clarified that the second group is not looking for a defibrillator.
Okay, thank you. Mark, you had an RTS.
Sorry, yeah, I'm just very slightly confused. Forgive me. On the thing that we've got in front of us, it's Solent Rescue have asked for 1663. Yeah. That's. Are we granting that?
There's a recommendation on the table, yes.
It's just I'm slightly confused. I mean, we've got in the small area, relatively so, we've got Calshot lifeboat, we've got Yarmouth lifeboat, we've got helicopters from HMS Daedalus, which reach the area in 5 minutes. I just, you know, the statistics. Why are we granting this? I don't get it.
Well, does anybody want to answer that? Because this is normally a discussion in the grant.
Okay, sorry, I just was unaware of that at the time, and I failed to understand, given the incident numbers, and you know, grants are very valuable things at the moment. I just want to make sure it's going to be useful, and I don't understand whether we've just nodded this one through without due investigation on it.
Sean's got his hand up.
Mark, I think the idea is that this is a portable one that could be taken out on the boat. So in life and death situations, you know, every second counts. So it might take 5 minutes for a helicopter to get there, at which point that's too late. If they're out there with an ADF, it could be to mean the difference between life and death.
Okay. Stephanie? Gosh,
yeah, I mean, Philip, I guess you're, you know, more in the know than I am, but I thought this was the group that actually trains youngsters up to do the life saving, and it's a youth venture that's been down the beach for years. Maybe I'm wrong. Is this not the one that's always been down our beach at Leap that was very well, you know, supported and respected by the community?
Let's sort of draw this to a conclusion. Somebody want to answer that question, and because I don't know the answer to that one, and then we'll do a vote on this. Can somebody answer that, please?
Well, I think I understand that's the group that Steph's talking about.
Was it Philip Smith or something? He used to.
Philip Smith, wasn't it?
Yeah, is that his group?
Can I come into this, please? Because I think there's been some confusion. You might be referring to the Seafarers.
Yeah.
This organisation, as you say, as stated here, the object of society is established to provide and maintain apparatus, equipment, vehicles and vessels for the saving and life assistance of persons in distress within a 60 miles radius of Leap and Exbury at times of national emergency. I don't think it's the organisation you're referring to and the individual you're referring to, I know of, but they are a different organisation, is my understanding. So therefore, Solent Rescue may have some association, but that's not who, that they're different to the Seafarers. Please correct me if I'm wrong, officers.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, we've had a proposition and a seconder. Shall we go to the vote? And that the proposition is to amend the recommendation from awarding a grant of 250,000 to awarding a grant of 1,600.
Mr. Chairman, you've got Sean Cullen wanted to speak.
Sorry, it's all I was going to ask
RTS
is.
Sean, are you?
Yeah, sorry, it's my typing speed. It's like chiseling in stone. The council meeting will be over. How much of an overlap is there between what Solent Rescue are doing and the RNLI?
I couldn't answer that, Sean. All the grant working party has been furnished with is the application form and all the relevant supporting documents that this council requests.
Okay, thank you very much, Sean.
Okay, right. We've had a proposition and it's been seconded. So let's go to the vote. Councillor Mark Clark, for or against?
Abstain, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Sean Cullen.
In favour?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
For, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, thank you. Got it right. Councillor Sandra Delamare.
For, Chairman.
Councillor Philip Dowd.
For, Chairman.
Councillor Alan Fairhead.
For, Chairman.
Councillor Matthew Kitcher.
Abstain, Chairman.
Okay. Councillor Simon Lodge.
For, Chairman.
Councillor Stephanie Osborne.
For, Chairman.
Councillor Melody Roberts.
Aye.
Okay. Councillor Alex Wade.
For, Chairman.
And I'm going to vote for it. We've had none against, so though we've had abstentions, that is therefore carried. Okay. Right. We now move on to item 13, which is councillor appointments, to appoint a member to serve as trustee for Age Concern New Forest to replace Councillor Delamare. Okay, members, who would like to do this?
If no one else does, Malcolm, can I throw mine?
Okay, we have a willing volunteer in Matt. the youngest councillor on age concern, the youngest councillor on the council. Councillor, sort of unique fit there. You'll find it very instructive. Does anyone else want to do it before we go over this? Okay, we'll call, as they say in the film business, let's call that a wrap. Matt, be appointed. I'll propose that. Everybody in agreement? Good. Okay.
Great.
Right, now go to item 14. Live streaming of full council meetings. Consider the live streaming of the full council meetings. Okay. Who's going to lead on this?
I can, Mr. Chairman, if people are happy to do so. I mean, we just first of all, obviously, we are in a different world these days, and live streaming seems to be much more current. There are a number of concerns that have been raised. I'm very aware of officer concern of these, as is common repeated elsewhere. It will take a bit of management to do, but I think we should remain ahead of the pack. I don't see any reason why democracy should fail us when we have a perfectly reasonable amount of viewers to these meetings each and every month, on average about 100. We're very forward as a council, particularly in using Zoom. We have done for over a year now, and I think most people have felt comfortable about it. And in fact, some people have already thought that we are going live. We're not. We're just simply removing the time lag between when this video is posted possibly 8 to 12 hours later than actually the meeting has taken place. Although it's not a driver, some media have been in touch to say they would like to report on this meeting as it occurs. And normally during a meeting, when we held the meeting in the parish hall, in the parish offices, of course, the media were there to able to report on what we said and what we did and what motions we took. So it's nothing has really particularly changed, and the controls that we will or can put in place when perhaps we go back to a mix of both online meetings and in-place meetings, suitably socially distanced, I think that can reassure members. It's no more than just simply putting what we're doing currently shorter by 12 hours, really, from what we're putting up on screen already.
Okay, well, I'm going to, before I bring the officers in, I've got Councillor Alex Wade and Alan Fairhead.
Actually, could you bring the officers in first? So it's only fair.
Okay, Sue and Sean, do you want to chip in?
Maybe I can start by saying that Councillor Clark and I had a long chat about this and went through the issues from an office point of view in great detail. And suffice it to say that I prepared a draft media and communications policy, which will be coming to this council shortly. And there will be a section on there, appropriately so, that deals with this issue of live streaming. So Councillor Clark has kindly agreed to put in a few bullet points that will deal with some various issues that, will come up with live streaming. So I'm sure, Mark, you've got that well in hand. And I look forward to seeing that.
Okay, Sean, do you want to add anything? Right, Alex, then Alan.
Well, what's very important is that we do as best as we can in the current situation to get ourselves visible. We talk about a lot of important issues as a parish council. We debate stuff, we make big, important, key decisions, and we need to make sure we're transparent and open and accessible to as much of the public as possible. I think we should absolutely go stream and go live. And then it is up to us as a council to act as professionally as possible, which I think we do an excellent job. No council will be perfect, but we all know the lessons of those that are not. And I think it's very important for us to provide access to our meetings live, so people can see what the council are like, what the council's like, how we debate. So there is no impression of editing or changing. This is that live, and I think it's absolutely the right way forward, irrelevant of whether we go in person or a mix and both. Moving forward, I do think Councillor Mark Clark has done an incredible amount of work on this alongside the officers, and I do think it is the right move. So I completely support it, and I do think it's the way forward.
Alan.
Yes, Chairman, I think it should go live. We get more people watching what's taken place 12 hours later, by which time you could, I'm not saying we do, but you could get some people saying that the meeting's been edited. It's not, we know, but if it goes out live, then there's no argument about it. That's what we talked about. And the fact that we get more people watching on Zoom than what we ever do in a council meeting, I think it's right that we should do it.
Okay, Councillor Mark Clark, you've got an RTS, then let's bring this to a conclusion.
Yeah, merely to say people are concerned perhaps that, you know, Hythe Parish Council wasn't an example that we would like to follow. But nevertheless, if a meeting does go beyond, and perhaps to reassure officers, if a meeting does go outside the bounds of normal behaviour, there is, of course, a great big red button you can press, which will stop. And if you think that that's unusual, it's not. If you think perhaps of proceedings in the House of Commons that were interrupted by people throwing purple dye towards the Prime Minister some years ago, then that stream was stopped straight away. And in a very small way, it's exactly the same. If we find ourselves in some sort of, you know, where the public take over with their pitchforks in some future council, there will be procedures put in place to reassure that the solemnity and august nature of this body is continued online, particularly. So just to reassure, we will try with the officers to make sure such controls are in place, so that even when looking to the future, when we go back to perhaps more in-house, in place around the table, then we continue with such live streaming to make sure, as Alan rightly says, that these things aren't edited, they're taken in view. And I think that increases democracy and increases accountability. And certainly more people will want to become engaged with the parish council, the more, you know, the secrets are revealed of what we do every month.
Well, I don't know about secrets, but Sue, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just replying to that and what everyone else has said. I totally agree with what people have said, you know, and it's great to be open and transparent. Can I suggest that if council's, you know, minded to approve this, that council approves the media communications policy first, so that you've actually got the correct policy to adhere to when you're live streaming?
I think that's the right way forward. We agreed a policy, and the policy needs to have built into it the very robust control measures that you alluded to. And once that is approved at the next meeting or the meeting after, then we can seek to do live streaming. There's no rush. Let's take our time, get it right, and then when you get it right, you can't go wrong, can you? Is everybody happy with that? Okay, right, now we're now going to item 15.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, is that approved then? Have we approved that particular proposal?
What we're approving is to get the policy to the council.
I see.
From that to do it, because is that not the right way to do it, Sue?
Do we not approve the policy in principle?
Yeah, so
it doesn't come back for another vote, you see.
You've not actually seen the policy yet.
No, the principle of live streaming. Are we approving that?
We can agree the principle of it, but and correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not going to instigate it until we have a robust policy to manage it. Is that right, Sue, or have I got that wrong?
I think that's totally correct.
You okay with that? All right, Alex, is it, because I want to move on from this, is it an add-on on this, because I want to go on to the next item?
It is, Chairman. Is it not worth making a proposal then that I propose that we accept the recommendation with the caveat that it will not go forward until this council adopts and improves the draft communication strategy?
We haven't got a cabinet. Did I not say you? You said I accept the recommendation of the cabinet.
I accept the recommendations with the caveat, Malcolm.
Oh, the caveat. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't use clever words for myself. It's very out of character, Malcolm.
There isn't actually a recommendation on the papers, but it says to consider.
That's
no
fine
recommendation, then. But we've considered it. We support it in principle.
Absolutely.
But once we've got the policy, then we can action it in real. Is everybody happy with that?
Indeed, Chair.
Are you happy, Sue? Good. Okay, right. Item 15. Now, this is quite important, and Sean came up with a really, really good idea, and it was to do with one part of our community. And we met informally with Sandra, Stephanie, and myself and Sean, and we discussed this. We realised that this might be something that we can roll out to support our community, because we are coming out of an awful period of the pandemic, and thousands of lives are affected, not just by the pandemic itself, but by the impact of it. So Sean, I'm going to ask you if you would kindly speak on this, of the things that you're after, and then I know Philip and myself have done a little bit of homework on this, and then we can chip in, because I think this is important.
It's as you were saying that as a result of the coronavirus crisis, we're going to see a greater unemployment, financial loss, broken relationships, bereavement, and you know that from a personal point of view, Malcolm, traumatized families, mental health issues. What I'm wondering is there any way that our parish council can facilitate bringing together organisations or agencies to support members of our community being affected by these issues?
Okay, Sandra, Steph, do you want to add to that before I go to Philip?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to send to you and Sean, I saw yesterday that the food bank have actually got the CAB working with them. So obviously we've all got the same sort of idea, but let's hope we can make it even easier and more accessible and better with our plan.
Sandra, do you want to add to that?
No, Chairman, I haven't really got anything further to add.
Well, we discussed this in our agenda meeting, and Philip and I had a bit of homework to do. Do you want to add anything, Philip?
Well, there's clearly a level of organisation at the district council, but I think the officer who responded, and I copied Sean into the response, does admit that communication is not quite at the level that he would like. So I think really what we need to go back to the district council with is what the issues are in terms of where the communication isn't working. And I think there's a lot done for people who live in council rented accommodation. There's a lot for people who are in severe need. I think the bit that I'm gauging is that it's those people who are kind of on the edges, who aren't in the category of being severe and requiring sort of high-level involvement, but it's those people who basically need help and advice that maybe are not sure where to go for the advice. And it's where things overlap, because we all know, we've had reports from our police inspector, that where there are financial stresses, they also create mental and relationship issues as well. So it's really finding a way of joining these areas up. So I think that really the impetus has got to come from the district, who are already meeting with all of these agencies. And I think what we need to do is to be able to pinpoint where these communications are not happening, and enable them to react to what we see as on the ground as the crises.
Well, I think that's a very good point. I did a little bit of homework as well, but just to put the scene there are lots of organisations do lots of good work in different areas. Some of them overlap, and one of the original ideas is how can we make it more effective by working them together. So I contacted Hampshire County Council because first of all, we want to know what is out there at the moment doing what we envisaged wanted to happen. And they were very interested by it, to the extent that Nicola Ward, the Strategic Relations Manager of the Hampshire County Council Adult Services, wants to meet with members of this parish council to discuss this. Ryan Stevens, she included Ryan on the email, who is the Service Manager Revenue and Benefits NFDC, also wants to meet with this council to discuss a joined up approach. Now, clearly the district, as Philip said, is doing a level of work. The county is doing a level of work, but what we're looking at is something purely for Hythe and Dibden. How can we get those levels of work and the very many independent and charitable organisations doing their own thing, working together more effectively? So the sort of first way to do this, and I've put this out there for your agreement otherwise, is for us to set up a meeting with Nicola Ward and Ryan Stevens and a group of members who, and we probably need at the offices as well, so that whatever comes out of that is doable, and then we look how we can involve other organisations as well. Does this sort of go in the direction you're after, Sean? Sort of starting it off.
Very much so, Malcolm. Yeah, thank you for all your hard work, and you too, Philip.
Right. So we haven't got a real proposition because we haven't put a proposition on this, but it says to consider. Would you members consider what I've suggested, and I'll bash you after the officers as well, I think, so as a sensible way forward? Is that agreement? Because I think this is really important. Post-COVID, a lot of people are going to need help, and we want to do something for our local residents. Is everybody okay with that? Thumbs up. Right. Sue, Sean, are you okay with this? So if I get the contact details, send them to you. We can set sign up. Who would like to be a part of Sean? I know he will because he suggested it. Who else would like to be a part of this? Sandra? Stephanie? Anyone else?
Malcolm, I would, please.
Okay. Well, we're going to be a whole council at this rate, but that's okay. Philip, do you want to do it?
Yep, I'm on board.
Okay. Well, probably as it's county council, I'll go as well. So I'll send the contact details to Nicola and Ryan, and we can arrange a Zoom thing during the day sometime. And can I leave that finer detail to you? Is that okay? You're muted. Oh, sorry. Okay. Set as a yes. Okay. Right.
So
well,
are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Sure.
Okay. Right. That's item 15 done. We're doing very well today, members. Let's keep up the good work. Item 16, local cycling and walking infrastructure plan workshops to appoint a parish council contact regarding ongoing communication and invitation to the workshops of New Forest National Park Authority. Okay, who wants to do this? Somebody who does cycling probably is helpful on that one. Volunteer, please.
As you know, Malcolm, I've had a lot of communication from the WCAG group.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's, it'd be better if someone else is also involved. It's like this.
Oh, so I have Stephanie's volunteering, I think. But
I think you're the expert, Steph.
Do you reckon I'm the best of a bad lot of cyclists here?
Then? No. Yo, but you've done the cycling. Alex, you got an RCS as well.
It was merely because I was concerned that obviously there was going to be not a willingness to volunteer, but I didn't want to push forward without the Councillor Osborne, without obviously her support. I think Councillor Osborne has been an amazing point of contact with the Waterside Cycling Action Group, and if she was happy to be part of this link, then I would happily support her, but only if Councillor Osborne is happy with that, Rob.
But are you saying you'd do it, Alex?
Honestly, I volunteer if I don't know obviously what it involves or when meetings would be. I also do not have your expertise, Steph. You have maintained some really good relationships in the past few years with this group, and but obviously if you have a lot on or you don't wish to put forward, I'm happy to put myself forward.
Actually, I would put from the chair. I actually propose Stephanie because you've been involved with these groups and. You've got the detail. Are you happy to do it, Steph?
Yeah, I'll try my best. Yeah, it could all tie in, couldn't it? If it's the National Park Authority that I've been asked to attend as well. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that. We have a volunteer. Alex, you can be first reserve. There you go. Thank you, Steph, for that. That's good. Right, now item 17. We've got to confirm support for waterside cycling acting groups endeavour to secure safety improvements on the A326 in the best interest of pedestrians, cyclists and horse riders. This is something I've been trying to do with the county quite a lot, and one of them is trying to get another control crossing at Applemore roundabout, which they are looking at. Right, members, who wants to talk on this?
I'm happy to confirm support for both those suggestions, having already been involved with this as well. So I think they're both very sensible suggestions.
Okay, is everybody in agreement that we support this?
Yeah.
Silence will be yes in this case. No one's against it.
Chairman.
I can assure you I'll be watching this.
Chairman, just for clarification, Councillor Matthew Kitcher, I believe, has left the meeting.
Yeah, he has.
He's had to virtually step out, for better turn of phrase. At first thought, I had concerns, but about any sort of crossing on the A326 always leaves me with concern due to the fact that it is a 60-mile-an-hour road. And so forth, and currently some of the pedestrian crossings, when people are waiting there, you always wonder what length of time it would be before they can safely cross. However, it's clear from the work that's going to happen on the roundabouts that they have really serious concerns for our cyclists and those lurking to walk over across there for the walk. And if these are signal led, and you can have the security that they'll be able to cross safely and a guaranteed secure time with no traffic for our cyclists and indeed pedestrians, then I would happily support this. I think all the additional lanes and build up on traffic, and I think very sensible point, if you walk in front of one person letting you, there's no guarantee the person in the next lane is going to let you through. So I do think this suggestion they put forward is a better suggestion, a safe suggestion, and I would happily support it.
Okay, is that unanimous? Because I think we need to support. Sandra, did you want? Oh, you everybody speak, right? Okay, so we therefore support both item A and item B. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Sue? Sean? Anything to add? No. Okay. Good.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for supporting it. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's the right thing to do, definitely. Okay, final item. It is the final, isn't it? Yeah, item 18 is finance 2020 to 2021. And you note on page 43, we have the running total of costs for the pandemic, which is at the moment minus the grant from NFDC that arrived of 11k. It was 27,198. Minus the grant, we're down to 16,077. We are better off than many other councils bigger than us for the amount of that. So yeah, that's good. Anybody got any comments, members? To receive the update, to receive the bank reconciliation, and to receive the accounts. These I take it are for noting, Sue. Sue, you're muted. These are just for noting, aren't they?
She's having problems on her internet, Malcolm.
Is that right, Sean? It's just for
Yes,
noting.
please. Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. Does everybody note this? Well, members, that is the last item on the agenda. Thank you all very much and have a good evening. Good night. God bless. Stop recording.